Welcome back to the channel. Today on Pop Pop's Horsepower Shop, we're back on the 305 V8 for Project S10. We are going to install the lifters. We're going to get the heads on, push rods in, rockers on, and valve lash adjustment. Stay tuned. We're going to install our flat tappet lifters. These are Howard's lifters. They are direct lube hydraulic lifters. And according to manufacturer's instructions, you do not pump up the lifters, you do not soak them in oil or anything like that. So we have the lifter. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a slight groove milled into each one of the lifters. That's to help lubrication down to the camshaft. Make sure they're cleaned up real good. The cam came with the driven assembly lube like you saw in the cam install video. We're just going to put it on the face only of the lifter. You don't want it on the body of the lifter because it's thick and it'll actually keep the lifter from spinning as easily. And it just, as Howard recommends, this is just regular conventional oil. Lube up the sides and slide them in. I prefer to do it without the heads on just because it's a little easier to get a nice straight shot. If the lifters go in tight, stop, clean out the lifter board. Probably got some debris. The lifters have to slide in extremely easy. They have to spin, otherwise they're going to wear the lifters out. Another one, see there's the groove on that one. Little assembly lube. Now the cam lobes are coated in assembly lube. So hopefully with the correct break-in oil, we should not have any problems. That one slides right in. No problems. I'm going to go ahead and finish putting all 16 of these lifters in, and then we'll come back and we're going to put the heads on. All right, as you can see, all the lifters are in. They all slid right in. We have the head gaskets on. These are a set of Felpro gaskets. Sometimes the gaskets will say up or down. These do not. Generally, the the words in the printing go toward the head. So we are ready to install our heads. One tip, if you have an engine stand that does not have a pin in it, like this one has a pin to keep it from turning, just be careful when you set one of those heavy heads on one side. The engine stand could have a tendency to want to spin over. Ask me how I know that. So we're going to go ahead and put you over here, and we'll get these, see if we can get these heads installed. Now this engine was out of a 94 Chevy pickup. The coolant temp sensor that goes to the gauge is on the driver's side. I couldn't remember which side it was on. I actually had to look through a video when I was tearing it apart and remember which side. Technically probably really doesn't matter, but for the wiring harness it goes over on the left hand side. So we got a head on. We're going to get a bolt started. Make sure you use a good thread sealer, as these bolts go into the water jacket. I got some ARP thread sealer. I don't know if regular plumbing thread sealer works. This, for what it costs, it don't cost a whole lot, so I figure I'll just get ARP that, made for automotive. I'll go ahead and get one bolt here so this head can't come off. A little bit of oil under the head of the bolt. And we'll go ahead and, all right, that's enough to hold that head on. We will get the passenger side head. Slip it in over the dowels, just like that. Thread sealer. All right. If you're unaware, small block Chevys have 3 different length studs. The longest ones go in the center, the medium size go on each end on the inside, and obviously the short ones, 8 short ones, go across the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and get all the head bolts. I think I called them head studs. Get the head bolts all set up with the sealant, and we'll come back when I have those all installed. Okay, heads are all on. They are just snugged down by hand. Now we're going to go ahead and torque them. We're going to torque them in 3 different steps, 25, 45, and final 65. Now it's been a minute since I've built an engine, so I did print out a cheat sheet. I don't know if you can see that, of the torque sequence. It actually has the torque sequence of the intake as well. So we're going to go ahead and do it to spec. We'll just set this in here. I'm sure it'll be like riding a bike and it'll all come back to me. These are a 5/8 head. Torque wrench, get it turned on. And we have, first one is 25 foot-pounds. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, set the torque wrench to 45. And we'll do this in again. And final pass will be 65. Now, these older Chevy engines, these are not torque to yield bolts, so these can be reused more than one time. That being said, I don't think I would reuse them more than once. That one just did not. 1, 2, 3. And they are all torqued. I'm just going to go down, right down the line, make sure they are all nice and tight. All right, same thing on the other side. Heads are all torqued. We're going to go ahead and put the push rods in, rocker arms, and then we're going to turn it over and set these to 0 lash plus, according to Howard's cams, 1/2 to 3/4 of a turn. So to me, that would be about 5/8 of a turn. So we have our push rods. These are the stock push rods. Just inspect them all. Make sure the ball ends look fine, that they are open the whole way through. And we are going to add just a touch of assembly lube to the ball of each one. And then we're going to go ahead and slide them down. Oh, that was good. If you can see, as Eric O from South Main Auto says, enhance, enhance. There's a hole there, one there, etc. So they go down through those holes and into the lifters. Just a little bit goes a long way. This is just to give them a little lubrication till we get oil pressure build up. Now this assembly lube is not really like the thicker grease that we put on the cam. That may be actually too thick for using something like this. We want the oil pressure to come right up through the holes of the push rods. And this is quite a bit thinner than that. Plus it says it dissolves in motor oil. So once we get the pressure built up, it should just pump right up through here. Okay. Push rods are in. We're just going to go ahead and slide the rocker arms on. Also on the rocker arms, they have a hole in them. Make sure the hole is clear. That's where the oil comes up through the lifter, through the push rod. Out here, runs down the rocker arms, and that's what lubricates your valve springs. Assembly lube on that one. There. Next comes the swivels or the balls, or whatever you want to call them. They go down over your studs. We're going to add some assembly lube on each one of these and stick them down on. 2, 3, 4, 5. A little assembly lube. As you can see, I have the oil pan is on. So to keep anything from falling down through there, I did put a rag down the distributor hole. If you do that, make sure you take the rag out. Otherwise, you're going to be pulling the intake back off. Now, once you get these on, it will actually center the rocker arm up on the stud. Okay. Here is the last 8. Let's see if I can show you here. You got these all down in here, and next will come the nuts. Go ahead and add a little motor oil to the threads. good. Now these nuts are a lock nut. They're cone shaped. The cone actually goes up. That is the lock part. All right, these nuts are a 5/8, which actually works out nice. The front crank bolt is also 5/8. Makes it easy to turn over. I have this set on top dead center, number 1 cylinder right now. So these two, let me see if you can see this. This is number 1. So uh, these two are on the flat of the cam. And to keep this from turning over any more than I have to, so we're going to go ahead and run these down to 0 lash. And we'll set these two, then we'll set 8 and go through the firing order. The reason these are lock nuts is because they do not actually they don't bottom out and torque down to anything. So you got to have a lock nut to keep them from backing out. So what we're going to do, I'm going to run this down. You want to spin the push rods. And then when you can't spin the push rod anymore, or you feel it start to bind, you're at 0 lash. You know, we still got a little bit of play, where this one maybe a little bit, the push rod just barely turns. So I think we're going to call that one 0. And same thing on this one. So Howard's recommendations was 1/2 to 3/4 of a turn. We're going to make it a strong 1/2, go just a hair over. Maybe not quite 5/8. There's number 1 is set. Number 8 is down. And again, we're going to go four is down. Now the reason we're doing this is the lifters need a little bit of a preload without any oil pressure in them. 4. And finally, number 2. All right, that is all there is to it. Wouldn't hurt to go back and double check, and I will probably do that off camera. But as you can see, if you were way off, one of these nuts would either be out way farther than the others or screwed in a whole lot farther. These are all about the same. And I think that is going to do it for tonight. And like I said, it is really getting hot here end of May in Florida. So I think I am going to go and get some air conditioning. Although I may go ahead and spray paint the heads on this thing and have it all nice and pretty. Anyway, be sure to like, subscribe, share, give a thumbs up, leave some comments in the bottom. Be sure to check out the other podcast I'm on. It is on ZB's Horsepower Talk. That's with my son and I do a racing preview and recap of all things racing: NASCAR, drag racing, IndyCar, sprint cars, you name it. We talk about it. Have special guests on from time to time. Be sure to check that out. ZB's Horsepower Talk. See you there.